SLT Mobitel, the connection.
මෙම විශේෂ සන්ලයිට් නිෂ්පාදන මිලදීගෙන ශ්‍රී ලාංකේය මනුදම්වියමන අපි සවිමත් කරමු. සන්ලයිට් කෙයා.
Tonight, freedom regained. Sri Lanka remembers the beginning of a new era after defeating terror 12 years ago today. Amendments accepted. The Cabinet announces the incorporation of all Supreme Court Port City Bill amendments for passing by a simple majority.
I stated yesterday that the government is accepting in its entirety the amendments which have been suggested by the Supreme Court. The bill can be passed with a simple majority.
Expanding the scope. Health experts say nursing mothers can be vaccinated, as the arrival of 185,000 Sputnik V doses next week is eagerly awaited. Settling dues. State Minister lists out Sri Lanka's total COVID-19 bill in Parliament and reveals Good Governance Government's 2019 unpaid IOUs. All that and much more coming up on First at 9. This Tuesday, the 18th of May, 2021.
ඇල්කොහොල් අඩංගු hand sanitizer භාවිත කරන්න. ලෙඩ රෝග ඇති කරන විෂ බීජවලට එරෙහිව සටන් කරන්න. හඳුන්වා දීමේ මිල රුපියල් 350යි.
From AdaDerana, this is AdaDerana First at 9. Live from Studio 24 in Colombo.
Good evening and welcome to First at 9. I'm Dhamke Kanaka. 12 years ago, on a day like today, Sri Lanka's people collectively let out a sigh of relief, which was followed by unprecedented jubilation. It was for good reason. Sri Lankan security forces had brought a 3-decade-long conflict with the terrorist group LTTE to an end. Thousands of soldiers sacrificed their lives in battle to ensure that the people of this country didn't have to fear for their lives anymore. 12 years on since LTT leader Velupille Prabhakaran's death, which signalled the end of the war, most of the younger generations have forgotten how it used to be. This is a look back on the hard-fought victory over terrorism and a tribute to those who liberated the island from the clutches of the terrorists. On the 27th of July 1975, Mayor of Jaffna, Alfred Dorayappa, was gunned down in cold blood as he was making his way to the Nallur Kovil. The man responsible for the murder, committed over a personal grudge, was a certain Velupille Prabhakaran. Though the murderer was a known ruffian, little did the people know at the time that this man would go on to become the leader of one of the most feared terrorist organizations in the world. His ultimate aim was to establish a sectarian state within Sri Lanka in the name of Tamileelam. On the warpath, Prabhakaran and his cohorts set off explosives in combat zones, but most shockingly, they targeted innocent civilians in the island's commercial capital Colombo and in other nerve centres. The terror outfit, which called themselves the Liberation Tigers of Tamileelam, had zero regard for human life, as in their eyes even women and children were fair game. Some of their high-profile targets include the Central Bank, the Katunayake Airport, the Jayasri Ma Bodhi in Anuradhapura, and the temple of the sacred tooth relic of Lord Buddha in Kandy. Then in July 2006 came what would prove to be a turning point in the conflict. The terrorists closed the sluice which controls water supply to the farming community in the east. The move would lead to the Fourth Elam War. On the 21st of July, the security forces launched the operation to free the sluice from the grasp of the LTTE and brought it to a successful end. Without stopping there, in 2007, the security forces liberated the entire eastern province from the clutches of the terrorists. There was only one way to go: north. Enduring various influences and pressures, then President Mahinda Rajapaksa withdrew from the ceasefire agreement and ordered an offensive to much of the bewilderment of the international community. 8 separate divisions took to 8 different routes and advanced with one goal in mind: to trap the terrorists. The biggest obstacle they faced was the cowardly move from LTT leader Prabhakaran and the terror cell's other chieftains to use innocent civilians as hostages. The military offensive against the terrorists then transformed into the world's biggest humanitarian operation. Cornered to a small stretch of land, the LTT leader used the remaining civilians as a human shield. Those people too were liberated by the security forces. Then on the 18th of May 2009, the LTTE terrorists were finally defeated, with its leader Prabhakaran killed among the mangroves of Nandikadal. 12 years ago today, the terror outfit was militarily defeated, ushering an era of peace in the island. No other government in world history has defeated a terrorist organization. Sadly, the peace only lasted 10 years, as the country was once more thrown into chaos with Easter Sunday terror attacks on the 21st of April in 2019. At the heels of it, the people of Sri Lanka elected Gotabaya Rajapaksa as their president, in hope another era of peace would be possible under the leadership of the then Defence Secretary, who played a crucial role in decimating the LTTE.
මෙතනින් ඉදිරියට අපි බලාපොරොත්තු වෙන්නේ අපේ රටේ ජනතාව. දේශපාලන පාටපක්ෂ ભેද කුමක් වුවත් කුමන ආගමකට ජාතියකට අයිති උදවිය වුණත් ඒ සියල්ල රට වෙනුවෙන් කැපකිරිය යුතුයි. එනකොටා ගන්න නැතුව සාමයෙන් එකමුතු බවින් මේ රට ගොඩනගා ගන්න ඕනේ, මේ රට ආරක්ෂා කර ගන්න ඕනේ.
On this day, I would like to pay my respects to those who made the supreme sacrifice and those who are disabled permanently and their family members for the sacrifices they have made to defeat the LTT and make Sri Lanka a one country again. We should never forget their contribution for this victory. And I also would like to wish all the best to the health sector, starting from the Minister of Health to the junior most health worker in this country for fighting bravely to defeat this unseen enemy, COVID-19 virus. We believe they will be able to defeat this in the very near future.
I take this opportunity to thank the Sri Lanka Air Force personnel, the pilots, the engineers, all officers and other ranks who took part in this operation under my command, and I wish to congratulate them on a job well done. Their commitment, their teamwork and their professionality ensured that the Air Force performs as a top-class Air Force. We never had new equipment purchased. It was the same equipment that we had, but we used them in a very effective manner to completely stop the fighting capability of the LTT by demolishing their weapon dumps, ammunition dumps, Sea Tiger bases and all their war-making abilities.
The same war heroes who liberated this country from terrorism are now committed to saving the people from an unseen enemy, COVID-19. Their dedication towards protecting the people of this country is beyond question, as made evident during the first two waves of the virus the island had to suffer, and more currently, the third wave. What's more, the manner in which they risk their lives to save people from any disaster, whether it be in the north or south of the country, is truly a testament to humanity. This is for the Triforces and the police. We salute you.
කාලගුණය කොහොමුණත් රයිනෝ නං වාලට සේෆ් තමයි මුළු ගෙදරම. අමුතු කේක් එක ටියාරා.
කියලා හැදෙවෝ වගේ.
Now, the total cost of the government's COVID-19 efforts were also read out in Parliament today in response to opposition requests for it to be revealed to the public. State Minister for Money, Capital Market and State Enterprise Reforms Ajit Niwad Cabral detailed a long list of measures implemented since the beginning of the pandemic, amounting to a staggering 138 billion rupees so far. The State Minister also read out government expenditure for the 2020 period running into the hundreds of billions, which he said were left by the former government for the current regime to deal with.
In Parliament today, State Minister for Money, Capital Market and State Enterprise Reforms Ajit Niwad Cabral gave a detailed rundown of government expenditure since the beginning of the COVID-19 outbreak in reply to opposition leader Sajid Premadasa's request for the government to reveal its official figures.
රජයක් හැටියට අපිට යුතුයකමක් තියෙනවා. අපි කොපමණ මුදලක් මේ කොවිඩ් වසංගතය වෙනුවෙන් ඒක මැනේජ් කිරීම සඳහා අපි වැය කරලා තියෙනවද කියලා. 2020 වසර තුලදී කොවිඩ් වසංගතයෙන් පීඩාවට පත් වූ ජනතාව සඳහා 2020 අප්‍රේල් සහ මැයි මාස සඳහා රුපියල් 5000ක දීමනාවක් දුන්නා. ඒ සඳහා වැය වුණු මුදල රුපියල් මිලියන 56593ක්. මේ පොඩි ගණන් නෙමෙයි. ඊට පස්සේ නිරෝධායන කටයුතු සෞඛ්‍ය යටිතල පහසුකම් ඖෂධ සහ සැපයුම් සේවා යනාදිය වෙනුවෙන් රුපියල් මිලියන 29045ක්. 2020 ඔක්තෝබර් නොවැම්බර් COVID-19 වෛරසයේ නැවත ව්‍යාප්තිය හේතුවෙන් බලපෑමට ලක් වූ ගම්පහ, කොළඹ, කළුතර, කුරුණෑගල, මඩකලපුව සහ රත්නපුර දිස්ත්‍රික්කවල ජනතාව සඳහා රුපියල් මිලියන 7073යි. නිවාසවල නිරෝධායනයට යොමු කරපු පවුල් සඳහා රුපියල් 10000ක බඩු මල්ලක් ලබා දීමෙන් මිලියන 2846යි. දිස්ත්‍රික් ලේකම් සහ ප්‍රාදේශීය ලේකම් කාර්යාලය මගින් සලසන ලද වෙනත් පහසුකම් සඳහා මිලියන 102යි. ගොවි නිෂ්පාදන මිලදී ගැනීම සඳහා මිලියන 88යි. සියලුම ඒ එකතු කිරීම එන්නේ ගරු කතානායකතුමිනි මිලියන 96058ක්. 2021 සඳහා රුපියල් බිලියන 41.9ක් අපි වැය කරලා තියෙනවා. රජය ඍජුවම දැනට රුපියල් බිලියන 138ක් දැනටමත් වැය කරලා තියෙනවා. අපි ණය ගෙවීම ප්‍රමාද කිරීමට අපි රජයක් හැටියට පහසුකම ලබා දීලා තියෙනවා. ඒ කියන්නේ මුළු රටේම තියෙන ණය ප්‍රමාණයෙන් 25%කට මේ අවස්ථාව ලබා දීලා තියෙනවා. ඊට පසුව සෞභාග්‍ය ලෝන් එකක් අපි ලබා දුන්නා. 104ක විශේෂ පොලියකට ඒ ලෝන් එක ලබා දීලා තියෙනවා 53252 දෙනෙකුට.
Speaking further, the State Minister responded to opposition accusations of the government having fixed its financial data for last year by explaining that all unpaid 2019 bills left over from the previous government, amounting to hundreds of billions of rupees, were paid off and included rightly in accounts for 2019.
පසුගිය වසර තුලදී 2020 වසර තුලදී 2019 වෙනුවෙන් අපි විශාල මුදල් ප්‍රමාණයක් වැය කරලා තිබෙනවා. මම ඒක පොඩ්ඩක් කියන්නට අවශ්‍යයි. පොහොර සහනාධාරයට අදාළව නොගෙවූ බිල්පත් තිබුණා බිලියන 24ක්. ඖෂධ සැපයීම වෙනුවෙන් නොගෙවූ බිල්පත් තිබුණා බිලියන 26ක්. බැංකු පද්ධතිය තුළ තැන්පත් කළ ජ්‍යෙෂ්ඨ පුරවැසියන්ගේ පොලී සහනාධාරයට අදාළ ගෙවීම් තිබුණා බිලියන 46ක්. පසුගිය රජය මේවා ලබා දුන්නට ඒවා ගෙවීම කරන්නේ නැතුව ඒක අපිට බාර දීලා තමයි ගියේ. මාර්ග ඉදිකිරීම වෙනුවෙන් බිලියන 18ක්. ගම්පෙරළිය කියලා ග්‍රාමීය සංවර්ධනයක් කරුවා බිලියන 7ක් අපිට ගෙවන්න සිදු වුණා. පාසල් සංවර්ධන ව්‍යාපෘති වලට බිලියන 2.8ක් සම්පූර්ණයෙන්ම බිලියන 124ක් අපි ගෙවලා තියෙනවා ඒ වෙනුවෙන්. ඊට අමතරව ප්‍රාග්ධන වියදම් මේ අය නොගෙවලා තිබිච්ච බිලියන 119ක් තිබුණා. විදේශීය ගෙවීම් තිබුණා බිලියන 180ක්. ඉතින් මේ ඔක්කොම අපි ගෙවුවා. ඒ ගෙවලා අපි පෙන්නලා තින්නේ ඒ වියදම් 2020 අයවැයට නෙමෙයි බාර දිය යුත්තේ 2019 කියලා. ඉතින් මෙතන කිසිම වංචාවක් සිදු වෙලා නැහැ.
Now, Chief Epidemiologist of the Epidemiology Unit, Dr. Sudat Samaravira, says that the Advisory Committee on Communicable Diseases have reached a consensus on whether lactating mothers can be vaccinated against COVID-19 and added that there is no need to stop breastfeeding after the immunization. Dr. Samaravira added that vaccinating expectant mothers, meanwhile, is also recommended by the World Health Organization if they are exposed to a higher risk of infection.
One of the key issues the health authorities have been deliberating in the past weeks is whether or not to vaccinate expectant mothers. The same question also extends to nursing mothers as well. With the more virulent strain of COVID-19 currently in circulation compared to the previous two waves, the risk to expectant mothers too has risen. Nearly 900 expectant mothers have contracted the virus so far. With decisions to be made, the Advisory Committee on Communicable Diseases met yesterday.
We know that at this moment, more and more pregnant mothers and lactating mothers are getting infected. Sadly, 4 deaths occurred among pregnant mothers. We discussed in length how to prevent this, and all are in agreement that lactating mothers should receive COVID vaccine. Any vaccine that is available can be taken by lactating mothers. After vaccination, mothers can continue breastfeeding. They need not stop the breastfeeding even for hours or days, that they can continue without any restriction.
එම මව්වරුන් විශේෂඥ වෛද්‍යවරයෙක්ගේ අධීක්ෂණය යටතේ මවගේ දැනුම් දීමකින් පසු ලබා ගන්න කැමැත්ත සහිතව වැක්සිනේෂන් ප්‍රෝග්‍රෑම් එකකට යනවා කියලා තීරණය කරා.
As for vaccinating expectant mothers, there is still no decision. However, the indication is that it won't be long.
World Health Organization also has advocated that if a pregnant mother is at a greater risk of getting the disease and also complication, they should be vaccinated. The College of obstetricians and gynecologists and also the Family Health Bureau will discuss in length about this and will provide recommendations among pregnant mothers whom should be vaccinated. And with these decisions, the Ministry of Health will take the action to vaccinate suitable pregnant mothers in coming days.
Even if it is decided to inoculate expectant mothers against COVID-19, which vaccine to give them and when to should be considered.
අපිට සියලුම දෙනාට ආවරණය වෙන විදියට එන්නතට යන්න බැරි නිසා අපිට තියෙන එන්නත් ප්‍රමාණය අඩු නිසා අපි අර දෙවෙනි මාත්‍රාවත් මේකේ අර ඇස්ට්‍රාසෙනිකා එන්නත වගේ නෙමෙයි සති 4කින් දෙන්න ඕන. ඒක තමයි රෙකමෙන්ඩේෂන්. ඒ කියන්නේ දීලා ඉවරලා තව පරක්කු කරන්න බෑ දෙවෙනි එන්නත. එම නිසා මේ සයිනෝෆාම් එන්නත දෙන එක තමයි අපි නිර්දේශ කරලා තියෙන්නේ. හැබැයි අපි දෙනවා නම් ගැබිනි කාන්තාවේ ගැබිනි සමය සති 40කින් ඉවර වෙනවා. ඒ වගේම එන්නතේ තියෙන නිර්දේශ අනුව සති 4කින් දෙන්න ඕන.
Meanwhile, as of last evening, 925,242 people have been inoculated with the first dose of the Oxford AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccine. From that number, as of last evening, 292,457 people have been completely immunized with both doses of the vaccine. The second dose of AstraZeneca was also administered today to 500 police officers at the Police Field Force headquarters in Colombo 5. As for the Sinopharm vaccine, 424,823 people have been given the first dose. What's more, 2,435 people have received the second dose of the Sinopharm vaccine, and all of them are Chinese nationals residing in Sri Lanka. In the meantime, 14,699 people have been immunized with Sputnik as of last evening. It is well documented that the world is facing a COVID-19 shortage, and as a result, the supply is not in the volumes as previously expected. At least for now, something is better than nothing. In that spirit, State Minister of Production, Supply and Regulation of Pharmaceuticals, Professor Chandraja Suman, said today that another consignment of Russia's Sputnik vaccine, totaling 185,000 doses, will arrive in the island next Tuesday, the 25th of May.
Government is discussing in length and is very vigilant and very active on ensuring supply of another consignment of AstraZeneca vaccine for those who deprived of the second dose of the vaccine. We hope that we will be able to procure some AstraZeneca vaccination to cover these people. And also we will be receiving Sputnik and Sinopharm vaccines in coming days, maybe in a week or so. And with all these things, we will be expanding our vaccination program. First, we will be covering the Western Province, and then we will be extending that to other high-risk districts in coming days.
Vaccine hoarding by wealthier countries has been highlighted as the main reason for the global shortage of COVID-19 jabs.
Once the devastating outbreak in India recedes, we also need the Serum Institute of India to get back on track and catch up on its delivery commitments to COVAX. Furthermore, we need high-income countries that have contracted much of the immediate global supply of vaccines to share them now.
Though some vaccine producers have promised delivery of vaccines to COVAX, the timing continues to be an issue.
While we appreciate the work of AstraZeneca, who have been steadily increasing the speed and volume of their deliveries, we need other manufacturers to follow suit. Pfizer has committed to providing 40 million doses of vaccines with COVAX this year, but the majority of this would be in the second half of 2021. We need doses right now and call on them to bring forward deliveries as soon as possible.
During the course of yesterday, 2,456 COVID-19 infections were detected from the island. The infections comprise of 23 foreign arrivals and 2,433 cases confirmed across 23 districts. The highest number of new infections came from the Gampa district with 677. 315 infections meanwhile were reported from Kalutara, 320 from Colombo, 255 from Mullaitivu, 259 from Gaul, 84 from Matara, 82 from Polonnarwa, and 60 from Kurunagala. What's more, 56 cases were confirmed from Ratnapura, while Puttalam recorded 51 cases. Badula and Matale reported 50 and 46 new cases respectively. A further 178 infections were confirmed across 11 districts. There were also 19 COVID-related deaths confirmed in the island yesterday. It brings the total number of COVID fatalities in Sri Lanka to 981. COVID pneumonia was cited as the cause of death in most of the fatalities confirmed yesterday. As things stand, Sri Lanka's total COVID-19 recoveries remains at 121,146, with 1,516 patients being given the all clear to leave treatment centres today. With the confirmation of 1,334 fresh infections today, the country's active number of novel coronavirus cases currently stands at 24,810.
We will see you shortly. Bear with us. Welcome back. This is First at 9. Now, the Manufacturing Purchasing Managers Index for the month of April has contracted by 22.7 index points month on month. Meanwhile, the Services PMI too dropped in the month of April. In doing so, it has reversed the sector's momentum of 4 straight months of growth.
The Manufacturing Purchasing Managers Index for the month of April has contracted to 44.3, following the seasonal pattern, with a decline of 22.7 index points month on month. This, the central bank says, is mainly due to significant declines in the production, new orders, stock of purchases and employment sub-indices compared to the expansion recorded in March. New orders also declined in April with the end of the Sinhala and Tamil New Year season, particularly in food and beverage sector manufacturing. Meanwhile, declines in production, namely in the food and beverage and textile and bearing apparel sectors, were attributed to the lesser working days in the month and a drop in employment, especially due to an increase in unauthorized absentees in the post-New Year holiday period. Supplier delivery times lengthened at a higher pace in April 2021, mainly due to delays in receiving imported and local supplies, while many respondents reported high freight rates that pushed up raw material costs and affected their profit margins. Manufacturing activity expectations for the next 3 months has deteriorated significantly compared to March. In the meantime, the Services PMI dropped to 48.9 in April, reversing the sector's 4 straight months of growth momentum. This decline was underpinned by deteriorations observed in new businesses, business activities, employment and activity expectations. New businesses and business activities in the services sector decreased in April 2021, particularly with declines in the transportation, education and insurance subsectors. Some improvement was, however, witnessed in the accommodation, food and beverage and wholesale and retail trade subsectors in April, stemming from surging New Year demand. Meanwhile, business activity expectations for the next 3 months dropped in April due to concerns over the effect of the third wave.
Now, in the currency market, the rupee closed slightly stronger at 202.84 cents to the US dollar today, after closing at 202.89 cents yesterday. Let's take a look at how the Sri Lankan rupee traded against other major currencies during the day. And that's it from all of us here at First at 9. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.